Hey there, this is the first in a series of how-to videos that I'd like to do for you guys. These videos are going to cover some really basic techniques and also, as we go along, some more advanced ones. Mostly I just want to share the tips and tricks that I've picked up along the way from my modelling experience over the last few years. If you're new to modelling or if you're starting to work with resin, then these videos will be super useful for you. This video is all about working with resin and in particular how to reshape resin when it's been miscast. This is the Hydra autocannon. This is an old Forgeworld piece which is now out of production. As you can see, the top barrel is pretty correct. It's sort of dipping down ever so slightly, but then this one is all over the place and this needs fixing. However, this is quite part and parcel with model making and especially with Forgeworld resin. Things like this, while it looks quite bad, is actually really easy and it's quite a simple fix. When stuff is often misshapen when it comes from Forgeworld, it's due to the sort of anything that's kind of a bit long and flimsy and it's not particularly sturdy. So when this piece is popped out of the mould, it's obviously still going to be quite hot and flexible, and it just sort of gets slightly misshapen when it's pulled out. And then when it cools down, it goes hard like this. So all you need to do to reverse the process is just to heat it up, and then it allows you to gently bend it into place. There's a few different techniques when it comes to bending the resin back into shape. The first one involves using some hot water. So you could submerge this into a bowl of hot water for about 5 minutes. And then after the 5 minutes, just pull it out and it'll be nice and soft so you can bend it back into shape. Now, as it kind of cools off, you can blow on it slightly. That will help cool it down. The resin will harden again. Then you'll basically be back to where you started with a nice solid piece of resin, but it will be back in shape. The only downside of this is the model is going to get a bit wet and it just needs drying off as well. Make sure you use hot water but not boiling water. If you use boiling water, you're potentially going to damage the resin itself. The other option, and my preferred method, is to use some hot air. So there's two ways you can do this. You can use a hairdryer, which is the most common solution. So the other option is to use some kind of hot air gun. I've got one which I use for my modelling. It's a little bit smaller than the hairdryer, so it's a little bit more practical. So this is my model hot air gun. This one's from Dovecraft. I'm sure there's other brands around and I'm pretty sure it doesn't have to come in the sexy pink colour. It also comes in a dual speed mode, 1 and 2. I only actually use the first speed, which is quite a nice low power. I think number 2 is a little bit too much. You don't really need to blast your resin to get them to bend into shape. I'm sure this is available from all good craft stores, either online or in store. eBay and Amazon will also be somewhere where you could pick something like this up. The other thing to note is there's an inner core which is made of metal. Then you've just got a little protective plastic covering just to stop you from touching it, but when it's on, just avoid your fingers being anywhere around here because this is where it is super hot. When you go further back around here, you can often even hold the model and just sort of direct the heat above. Now the benefit above this to a hairdryer is you can actually get a bit more fine control than you would do with a hairdryer, because a hairdryer nozzle is about this big in size. So it's a bit more practical, and if you're working with resin quite a lot, I find it really useful. So let me just switch it on so you could see the 2 speeds that it comes with. Speed 1, as you can hear, is quite low, and speed 2 is quite high. So that's it for my air gun, and now we're going to get on to actually reshaping the resin. Let's get down to reshaping this. I've got my hot air gun just slightly off camera, and I'm just going to apply the air down onto these strips here. So you just need to keep passing it in a nice even fashion. You don't want to focus the heat too much in one section, and then every so often just check to see whether it's bending or not. Often you'll actually start to see the resin slightly pop back into shape. As it heats up, it sort of defaults back to its normal shape. So as you can see, it's now bendy. So all you really need to do is just sort of hold it taut which will keep it nice and straight, and then just leave that there for a few seconds while it cools down. What you want to do is just double check the bottom as well as the sides so you're getting as much at a right angle as possible. Okay. Okay, I think that one's done. Seems very straight. Next up is this top one. Now this one was still a little bit soft. I think it's okay now. So next time when we're applying the heat on this one, we just need to make sure not to accidentally bend the bottom one. One of the benefits of using one of these heat guns is you can actually get much more directed heat. Okay, so again, you can see it's gone nice and soft, so you can wiggle it around into shape. We just need to make sure they're lined up and parallel. And then again, you want to make sure you've not bent it to the left or right accidentally like that. So just keep them nice and straight. Now at this point I'd normally just give it a bit of a blow. That will help cool it down a little bit quicker. Yes, it looks pretty spot on. It took no time at all to bend the barrels back into shape. They're now as good as they were in terms of the strength of the model, so don't worry about heating them up. Just don't overheat them because that will damage them. That's one of the sort of only key pieces of advice I can give you at this stage. This is a really easy technique to do. It takes no time at all to do. If you want to invest a little bit of money, I would suggest getting the air gun. It gives you a little bit more control in terms of where you're directing the airflow, so you're not going to heat up parts of the model that you wouldn't want to. However, a hairdryer will do all the same, so I wouldn't worry too much if you don't want to sort of fork out for a bit of extra kit. Especially if you're only doing 1 or 2 pieces of resin. However, obviously my army is all Krieg, so I do get a lot of resin. I hope you've enjoyed this video. It was quite a quick one. There'll be definitely more in the series to come. Just hit me up in the comments with any requests for other videos you'd like me to do. And as always, if you've enjoyed this video, please do like and subscribe to the channel. Until next time, take care.